When we come to work in the morning, we don't think about all the money we've won against big tobacco, big pharma, or the insurance industry. That's in the past. Life faces forward, and so do we. It's been said, to live in the past is to die in the present. What really matters is what we can do for you and your family right now, right this second. So call us, Farah and Farah, here for you, here for good.
Tampa.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everybody. This is the Metal Hammer of Doom. I am your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And this is the last Metal Hammer of Doom album review proper for the year 2016. Tonight we are reviewing a band formerly known as Superjoint Ritual. They are now just known as Superjoint. And they released an album on November 11th called Caught Up in the Gears of Application. But, you know, because of the new Metallica and Thanksgiving and some other stuff we were doing at the time, like our Turkey Stomp 442, we put this one off, but I wanted to get it in before the end of the year. It took a back seat to Oakley Dokley because that was important. But we got it on the calendar. After this, we have our Christmas show and then our year in review, which is now taking a bit of a turn. I'll talk about that at the end of the show. But we'll just focus on the task at hand tonight. We're going to review Caught Up in the Gears of Application. Robert Cooper is under the weather, having some issues, not going to be able to be here tonight. But I am not alone. Or this podcast will be roughly 5 minutes. Instead, I've got the third chair. He's moving into the big boy seat tonight, as he's done in previous episodes, namely when we reviewed Hell Yeah and Jackal, one of my favorite albums of the year. Rock out with your cock out. He's back in the second chair again, helping me out, Mr. Jesse Starcher. How do you do, sir?
Good evening, Mark Radulich. How's it going, man? I mean, a second chair here, beard hair all over it, I hope. It kind of fell flat. What's going on, Mark?
Yeah. Boo. Boo. All right, Last night, we did the last Long Road to Ruin ever, and initially I was calling in through the Direct Connect on Blog Talk Radio tonight, and then I ended up switching because Sean, I guess I kept breaking up even with that, so I said screw it, and I jumped on over to dialing in through Google. So I hope we don't have any sound problems tonight. Jesse and I did a test run with this mic and headset setup that we got going on, and it worked just fine, but I was using the Direct Connect at the time. I don't know. Tommy, can you hear me?
I hear you fine, man. You sound good.
All right. I think there's a bit of a delay though.
There must
but
be.
that might be as a result of using that must be as a result of using Google. But I'll take a delay over not being heard at all. If I have to go through that again, I may have to quit podcasting. So let's get into this. And it's funny because if I had a theme for 2016, as far as the albums that we reviewed, it's excited and then kind of disappointed. Not that we reviewed a lot of bad albums. If you go to Spotify and you look at the Metal Hammer of Doom 2016 playlist, we've covered some pretty good albums. They just weren't as good as we had hoped they would be. Some of them were fine. Some of them kind of fell flat, and some of them were just meh. And
yeah.
I find it really funny that we're ending the year with this Superjoint album, because once again, I was very excited, and once again, it's okay. It's just kind of meh. So, how much of Phil Anselmo and his 76 projects are you familiar with?
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, of course, Pantera. That's undoubtedly number one. Number two is Down, which I believe has Anselmo in it. And the only way me and you were talking earlier this week, and I said, this is the first time I've ever listened to Superjoint, and I could tell immediately I've heard these vocals before. So I was like, oh, this completely reminds me of Down. And then I started putting two and two together. I was like, okay, this is Anselmo. So I have nothing to comment upon any of the previous Superjoint or Superjoint Ritual albums. So I have no idea what came before this. Down, I know we've talked about in previous episodes where I'd spoke about a couple of the albums I'd heard from them and enjoyed pretty well. So that's about as far as my knowledge goes. I'm not a big Phil Anselmo fan. I don't know. He kind of rubs me the wrong way sometimes. And in this album, we'll probably get into the reason why.
Now, is it his singing style or the blatant racism?
Now, I don't know much about the racism. His singing style is I would definitely go with the singing style if I had to pick between the two. So educate me. I mean, is he a racist? I didn't know this.
I think he's an idiot, but I don't think he's a racist. I think he's one of these guys who likes to get people's goats and be, controversial, quote unquote. And he's done stuff. I mean, we were talking before the show about the Machine Head single from earlier this year, earlier being June 3rd. And the story behind Is There Anybody Out There was that apparently it was written about the Phil Anselmo racism incident.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I noticed.
He's gotten in trouble.
I was going to say, I noticed that he mentioned something about his racist brothers in that song. So, yeah, please, go ahead.
Phil, look, I don't think in his heart Phil Anselmo hates other, people that are not white. But I think between the heroin and the alcohol and the frustration and anger, stuff just flies out of his mouth. Like, you might be angry and frustrated, but you have a filter and you don't shoot heroin or bathe in whiskey. So stuff just doesn't, the stuff that you might be thinking, the stuff that might be bubbling up due to disappointment and anger and frustration doesn't just fly out of your mouth like, oh, so much nothingness. And I think that's the problem with Phil. Like if he were sober and thinking, I don't think he'd say some of the stuff that he said or done some of the stuff that he's done. I would compare him to, situationally, I would compare him to JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield. Welcome to the Metal Hammer of Doom, where we make wrestling references.
References.
He went to Germany, and he was doing. He went to Germany on a WWE tour, and he was doing like Heil Hitler in the ring. And he was doing it to piss people off. He was doing it to be a heel.
Cheap heat.
Right, and it's just like that sort of level. Yeah, it's a level of tone deafness. You know, just stuff. Like I said, he just does stuff, and just stuff flies out of his mouth. And I don't think he means it to hurt people, but he's like not with it enough to know that he shouldn't be saying those things at the very least out loud.
Yeah.
To a concert full of people. But the quasi-racism, not racism stuff aside, Phil doesn't know when to shut up to begin with. I went and saw a Superjoint Ritual when they first released one or two of their albums, and this is only the third one, but there was like a long, I mean, I was still living in New York when those albums came out. They were like back to back. And I remember like his in-between song rants, were longer than the songs themselves. It's ridiculous.
What an idiot.
Yeah. I think I remember, like, we were in a very small club in the Bowery. That's an actual place, the Bowery of New York. And I think at one point, like, he had stopped so many times to just talk, and he wasn't saying anything of value. And I think I finally just said, "Get on with it already." and he could hear me. I was very, very, very close to where he was. And it also looked like there were like 27 people in the band. So, that being said, yeah, it was a big band. I'm trying to pull up the the song "Fuck Your Enemy" is Once and Destroy, which came out in 2002. The song is 1 minute and 41 seconds long. He would talk longer than that. These songs are like an average of 3 minutes, and he easily would do 5-minute stops. It was the most annoying thing ever.
Yeah. Get on with it.
I really, really liked. Yeah. So speaking of getting on with it, I really liked 2002 Use Once and Destroy and 2003's A Lethal Dose of American Hatred. They were damn good albums. Waiting for the Turning Point is the looks like it's the most popular according to Spotify. Followed by Fuck Your Enemy, and that's a damn fine song, let me tell you. So I was really excited for a new Superjoint album, and as I said before, as we're gonna see through the course of reviewing this, once again, 2016, the year of meh.
Meh.
So, anything else you want to add before we jump into this?
The only thing that I could think of, really, I want to touch on this as we go through it, but you know, I want to talk about what you saw as the influence of punk throughout the album, and we can do that after this first song because I want to know where these guys, if you know off the top of your head, I mean, great, but I'd love for you to educate me on where these guys get their influence and how they came to be. Because I don't know much about this band at all, other than just Anselmo at the front. So,
all right, well, let's go ahead and play this first song, and I'll actually pull up the wiki on them, and we'll go from there. Okay. So here's our first track from "Caught Up in the Gears of Application," released November 11th, 2016, on Housecore Records. Today and tomorrow.
Jungle in the car,
Okay. So according to the wiki, Superjoint, previously known as Superjoint Ritual, is an American metal band formed by Phil Anselmo, Joe Fazio, and Jimmy Bauer in the early 90s, later to be joined by Hank Williams III and Kevin Bond, who are no longer in the band.
Okay.
Their style can be considered a mix of Pantera's style of groove metal and hardcore punk. A small trace of black metal can be heard as well. Bands like Venom, Slayer, Celtic Frost, Voivod, and Dark Throne have been noted as influences also. The name Superjoint Ritual comes from a lyric in a Dark Throne song, The Pagan Winter. According to Bauer, Anselmo wrote 70 to 80% of the group's music. During the early 90s establishment, despite their early 90s establishment, it wasn't until a decade later, after the folding of Pantera, well, folding is one word for it, I would call it blowing up of Pantera, that the group recorded any albums. It was then that Superjoint Ritual garnered significant TV exposure on MTV2's Headbangers Ball and Fuse TV's Uranium. However, the group's time in the spotlight would prove short-lived. A dispute between Anselmo and Fazio led to the band's eventual split in 2004, which was confirmed by Hank Williams III and Jimmy Bauer. It was confirmed that they will have a reunion at the Housecore Horror Film Festival, and this was in 2014. For legal reasons, the band performed under the name Superjoint. Hank Williams III was initially supposed to take part, but he bowed out. They got the band back together after that show, and then they recorded Caught Up in the Gears of Application. They are, I believe, currently on tour with Battlecross and Childbite. So what else can I tell you, sir?
Yeah. Well, that was quite a good education there. I didn't know Hank Williams III was involved, which that's interesting to say the least. Well, I mean, how about have you ever listened to any Hank Williams III just by himself?
Very little, very, very little.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if that was something that you had checked out, but okay. So, what do you think of the first song? I get to ask you.
Fine. I mean, the thing about Use Once and Destroy, the thing I really hated about it was I liked the punk influence. I thought the songs had a lot more zip. There was a lot of repetition then too, but I guess it didn't annoy me as much back then. This one, there's a lot of repetition, and I got bored of the album. Here's the thing. Today and Tomorrow by itself is fine. Mixed in with all the other songs, it's kind of, well, I wouldn't call it unlistenable. I would definitely say it just doesn't really stand out. We just happen to be talking about it first, but if you just mixed up the songs, it would be, just more background noise for me.
Yeah. You talk about it being repetitious. At the end of this song, he probably says, "Don't trust anyone," like 20 times. Over and over and over and over and over. I mean, it's to the point where you're just like, oh, okay. All right, the song's going to end this next time for sure. Nope. We got another 10 times before finally the song ends. But, yeah, I can tell you that when you listen to Anselmo's vocals, actually, you know what? I'll hold off. We'll talk about that here after another track. So if you want to hit another track, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, let's get into this. This might be one of our shorter shows tonight. Anyway, this is track 2. This is Burning.
We'll
See, that one I liked. That one, at least they broke it up a little bit. It's so short. It's only 2 minutes and 30 seconds long, as most of these songs are on average. But it's short enough that there was an effective change in tempo and beat and style crammed into a very short. I mean, I only played a minute of that song, crammed into a very condensed song. And it was like there was enough going on that I wasn't bored, and it was short enough that I didn't lose interest. You know what I mean? I thought it was an effective song.
Okay. I can't say much more. Man, it's very hard, and I'm trying to teach myself to be objective on these things, okay? I really am. And that's probably one of my biggest downfalls. I need to learn how to be objective and not subjective when it comes to albums. When it comes to listening to different bands, for sure. This whole, it just sounds like noise, man. I don't know if I could not take, I remember getting maybe three or four songs into this album going, gosh, man, it just sounds like there are a couple bright spots, don't get me wrong, but this just sounds like more of what we're going to get here in a few and what we had in the first song. I don't really have much more to add to Burning the Blanket other than the fact that that is actually a running joke. And I don't know I know you watch some sitcoms, but there's one called The Middle, and it stars Patricia Heaton from Everybody Loves Raymond. Anyway, one of the running jokes is.
I'm aware of what The Middle is.
Okay, one of the running jokes is, they keep the comforter in the oven. They keep like this family quilt in the oven for some reason, and they always forget when they start the oven to fix something. The damn blanket's in there, and then they pull it out of there as quick as they can as it's smoking and toss it outside. Anyway, Burning the Blanket.
Funny. All right. Let me say this. I get the sense from what's going on here that you're going to be struggling with this.
It's tough
because this is you're not into this. You're not into like the screaming. I remember just from doing this for a year now with you, for the most part, you have said on multiple occasions, you're not really into the screaming, lyrical stuff, singing style. You like a little bit more melodic. Just you and Coop seem to get together on music more often than not. I think more so than you and I do. I mean, we like some of the same stuff, but I think you tend to like a lot of the stuff that Cooper likes, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I think you depart from him even when it comes to the Cookie Monster screaming tantrum singing style. So yeah, you're gonna have a rough time with this tonight.
Yeah, and
so thanks for doing this anyway.
Well, Phil's vocals. What's strange is I can't take it very well in this group, but in Down I was perfectly fine. Down it was okay.
Well, he was.
I could hear what. Down. Yeah, I could hear what he was doing, but I swear the mixing of the vocals are similar. You agree or disagree?
I don't know. I mean. I don't know. It's hard. In all honesty, I feel like George Bush. It's hard. You remember that? Am I too political? Yeah. No, I honestly, I feel like in Down he was singing more.
Okay.
He actually. I mean, if you listen, especially like earlier Pantera. He had a very melodious voice. I mean, he sang some pretty good stuff. Like Cemetery Gates being a good one. I'd have to go back and look at Cowboys from Hell, but there was one on there. I might be thinking of Cemetery Gates now. I think, you know what? Fuck this. Cowboys from Hell. We're gonna settle this once and for all. Hang on. Okay. God damn it. Yeah, Cemetery Gates. Stupid me. Cemetery Gates. He actually sings, like, as the years went on, he had a hard time hitting those notes. But Cemetery Gates, he sang, without screaming for a lot of that song, and he hit some really high notes. So Phil does possess the ability to sing.
Mm-hmm.
He's just somewhat stopped, and even in Down, he still kept with a more mainstream singing style, which is probably why you liked it as much as you did.
Okay.
The other one I was thinking of was from Vulgar Display of Power, and it was This Love. You take this love.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Right, you take. Not entirely sure he yells, but that's me doing a bad impression of Phil Anselmo. All right. Here's the track, a single that they released from this album. This is called Ruin. Here's another opinion about this album. I think if you heard these songs live and you were like in the mosh pit, it would be much more effective. Just sort of sitting there listening to it and trying to appreciate the complexity of the music, don't think is how this album is supposed to be digested.
Okay.
This is more of a live. This is more of a live experience album, I think, because I can picture like stomping around the mosh pit while listening to this, and I think I would appreciate it more. Just sort of sitting here examining these songs the way that we do on this podcast loses its effectiveness, in my opinion.
I can understand what you're saying there, because there are a lot of songs that I identify with where I'm like, okay, I could feel this at a concert. It's more emotion. You're in, for a better term, or a loss of a better term, you're in the mood. I mean, you're sitting there, you're going nuts. You're going nuts with the hundreds of fans, thousands of fans that are around you. So, yeah, if I was at, Rock on the Range or something, and there was no way for me to, I don't want to say I'd avoid these guys. I'd definitely stick around if there was a set that they were going to do. But if this was just something that happened upon Rock on the Range while I was sitting there, yeah, I mean, I could see people just going nuts, going ape shit over it. But yeah, you're right. It's tough to sit here and look at these songs lyrically to kind of try and figure out what's going on, and also to listen to them while you're sitting in a chair working, which is pretty much what I did today, trying to sit there. Which was, I'll tell you right now, it was a tough thing to do, Mark Radulich.
I listen to them at work as well. And a lot of times I can't listen to like a podcast or something while I'm working because I have to read through psych notes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to do detective work, figuring out what the fuck my colleagues are doing. And I have to, and I also have to go through nursing notes, which it's funny to see the world without spell check. Like these people all have higher level degrees, and nobody can fucking spell, and some of them I'm pretty sure can't write in English. So I really have to examine what it is I'm looking at. Try to construct a timeline out of the bits of crumb that I can glean from some of these notes that I read. And I can't do that while listening to Jim Cornette lambast the wrestling industry on a weekly basis, or listen to the guy.
It's impossible.
Listen to the guys from Movie Fights, try to discuss which is the best Star Wars lightsaber battle. So this was actually perfect because this was just noise, and it
mindless,
was fast-paced noise that I didn't have to think about it at all. And that goes right back to the issue I'm having with this album, which is now I have to think about it. I have to think about things to say about it, and it's like this is like oh God.
I'm at a
loss.
loss.
This is the Children of Bodom episode all over again. Yep. Coop, tell me about your dating life. That's where we're at, really.
Oh yeah, he ain't even on here to save us. Damn it. No. Two happily married men with kids. I may have to talk to you about that. Like, I'm gonna get bored talking about this, and I'm gonna end up talking to you about some of the stuff that my daughter told me that's going on with her in school this week. Oh,
see
wonderful.
If you've got any comparison, some fatherly advice for me.
Wonderful.
So I'm going to keep that in the chamber, okay?
All right. Be ready.
All right. Here's our title track. Yep. Here's our title track. This is Caught Up in the Gears of Application. It's weird. It's like he's doing spoken word, and there happened to be a band in the room at the time.
Yeah, that's the truth, dude. That's the truth.
I mean, okay. We're four songs into this now, and one of them sounded different. Then we're right back to okay, we got it. We know what this is about now.
Right where we started. I if I remember correctly, I think this is one of the ones that I enjoyed a little bit more than some of the other ones, well, most of the other ones that came on this album, which makes sense because this one, I believe, is at least one of the first tracks that they released off the album. I don't know if this was their first single or not, but I'm on Revolver right now, and I'm looking at the video. So they released a video for this song. But I think that there's a part in the middle where it actually starts to represent somewhat of a song that I can enjoy, and then it kind of falls back into yelling and screaming at me, and it's hard for me to palate that. But again, if you're gonna feed me shit, at least put a little, ranch dressing. That would probably be my best comparison.
Yuck. Ew. Why?
Whoa. Oh, no.
Ew. Oh, no. Why are we talking about eating shit? I mean, I get what you're saying, but still yuck.
Sure.
So, yeah, I totally get that. You know, like, if you're gonna, I used to say that a very similar thing, though maybe not quite so graphic, about about death metal, like just you know, like Cannibal Corpse being a really good example of this. I used to know guys that loved Cannibal Corpse. Thought Cannibal Corpse was like the best thing ever, and I'm like, it's the guy growling, just you know, for an entire album with no change. It's like, this might be better if they, I don't know, change the music somewhat. And I remember making that suggestion to somebody, and they were like, no, that would dilute the album, like aggressive. And I'm like, okay, and not sound like music. Fucking noise. I mean, I've come to appreciate it somewhat since then. And Cannibal Corpse itself, not only they changed the singer, but overall they made more listenable music.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those early Cannibal Corpse albums, I don't know if you've ever heard like the first couple of very, very famous Cannibal Corpse records, their graphic covers. But you know, this was in that early stage of everyone tripping over themselves to be the most brutal, the most extreme metal. And it was like, okay, this is fine, but you're not making music anymore. Everyone's racing towards this particular sound, and you've lost the point. You know, in the 20 to 30 years since then, been a great change in that style of music where even bands that are metal still have some melody to them. Now, there are some that don't. Again, I keep bringing up the band Cattle Decapitation. If you headache, like, you know, like your wife wants you to do something in the house and you're like, shit, I need to cause myself to have an aneurysm, go listen to Cattle Decapitation.
Okay.
A few minutes of that, and if you don't have a headache, you're a better man than I. And I saw them live, and I enjoyed the show. But I go back to what I said at the beginning of this, where there's a whole other aesthetic, there's a whole other feeling when you're there live, listening to the music, than when you're just listening to the record.
Sure.
I'm probably a little bit more tolerant of it because, you know, there's other stimuli around me. I have to make sure I'm not being hit by some half-naked, hairy, fat guy. You know. I'm worried about being knocked over. I'm not worried about how all the songs sound the same.
Yeah.
So, we'll move along here. This is the story of my professional life. Sociopathic delusion. All right, Jesse. I've been talking a lot here. Earn your keep.
Oh, man. Well, it's funny because all my notes are meh on this one. I actually went through. It's been a while since I've done notes for albums. It's been a while since I've done notes on albums. Seriously. Like, usually I would sit down here, I'd listen to the album, and then I would kind of come over to the keyboard, write, copy all the songs over, then just kind of like write, 3 or 4 sentences about each song. But in the past few reviews that we've done, I just kind of winged it. And then this one I decided I need to get back to my note taking. So yeah, that's all you get from me on Sociopathic here is meh. I am, however, I just hopped on to metalinjection.net just to kind of look and see what they said about this album. And it just seems that anytime that they mention anybody, and other people that I've heard talk about Anselmo, it's always talking about it's always preceded or brought up the implosion of Pantera. That must have been some bad stuff. I don't really know what the heck happened, but I mean, that really left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Well, again, Phil Anselmo is a very, very famous douchebag. He doesn't get a lot of. I mean, first of all, one of the guys that in the band is dead. He was shot on stage, so he would have to be so much worse than Phil Anselmo for anyone to talk bad about. Dimebag Darrell to this day, they're still making T-shirts. Rest in peace, Dimebag, and all this other stuff. So, yes, Dimebag and his brother Vinnie Paul already had a lot of sympathy in the whole implosion of Pantera. And it all did seem like, and I'm not the world's greatest expert on this. I mean, it was years ago when I watched the Behind the Music Pantera and talked about how the whole band fell apart. But I think a lot of that was, we talked offline about Phil and his, as I said earlier, his 76 different projects.
Yeah.
And it might not have even been you. I think I also said it to somebody else. I was talking with, I don't know if people know this, but Jed, formerly of the Casual Heroes podcast, which no longer exists, he's big into metal too. And so occasionally when he's not being a complete douchebag, me and him will talk metal. And we both kind of had the same thought when it came to Phil Anselmo. It was like, why don't you stick to one band and do it well rather than 50 bands that run the gamut of okay to shitty?
Mm-hmm.
like there was, I gotta go back and look it up maybe between the next song or so. But I think at one time Phil had like 3 or 4 different bands going, and none of them were great. I think the best one was Down, and the rest of it was meh. Just a lot of meh. That's the thing, is that when he really puts his effort, again, Pantera saved metal in a lot of ways. Who knows what would have happened, in the 90s.
Let me hop in here real quick. I just want to tell you that I Googled Phil Anselmo. That's all I put into Google, okay? And the first hit is official Philip H. Anselmo, Philip's various bands and projects. That is the first thing you see in Google.
Right. Go ahead. You know what? Hang on to that, because I don't want to spend too much time in between songs just bullshitting. So let's play another song, and then you go ahead and just take the charge here, because I can't imagine I'm going to have a lot of insight into this next one. So we'll play Circling the Drain, and then when it stops, you rip into Phil's resume. Okay? You ready?
All right.
All right, here you go. This is track number 6, Circling.
Don't tell me how. Well, it's nowhere.
That song was 4 minutes and 30 seconds long. I could have played another minute of it, but I just didn't want to. All right, you're a witness.
I actually think that song, I believe, is about drug use. That's my guess. Just picking apart what I could make out of the lyrics. But, that's probably about the, surprise. So, not like that really surprised a whole lot of people. At least he's singing about it. So, all right, here we go. Let's get down. We'll get down to the nitty gritty on some Phil Anselmo projects. All right. Starting out first. Now, first off, I went ahead and went to the wiki because I doubt I would be able to navigate his own personal website, which was that first hit on Google, by the way, because his own personal website says Phil Anselmo and various projects and all that other stuff. So Wiki has him down for this. Actually, just real quick, Mark, I don't know if you're looking at it or not. I hope you're not, but I want you to just guess. Give me a number 1 through 10 on what's listed on the wiki and how many projects he has.
All right. Pantera, down. Superjoint Ritual, Viking Cross, the fucking EP he did with his wife, assuming they're still together. Something about a bird. Can't remember the name of it now. It was actually pretty good. So that's 5. Shit. He's also been in. Oh damn. No, he wasn't in Hell Yeah. He wasn't in Damage Plan. That's the other guys. All right, I've only got 5.
Okay, all right.
That's all I can remember.
Side projects. Okay, you've got Pantera, Down, and Superjoint Ritual. So those are 3 of the main. All right. Now side projects, he has a total of 3, 6, 7 listed here. So a total of 10 in all. So I'll run down the side projects. We got Arson Anthem, Christ Inversion, Southern Isolation, Viking Crown.
Yeah, Southern Isolation. That's the. Okay, so hang on. Southern Isolation was the one I was referring to, so I got that one. I have no idea what Arson Anthem is, and yes, and okay, but what did I say? I know I said Viking something.
Yeah, it's Viking Crown, and then Ibon, which is EIBO. Okay, we'll give you credit. Ibon, which is EIBON, which I've no idea. I'll read that real quick. Ibon was a very short-lived supergroup which Anselmo participated in from 1998 to 2000. The group featured Killjoy, Fenrez, Satyr, and Maniac. The project has been put on indefinite hiatus, and to date has only released a single track, Mirror Soul Jesus, which appeared on Moonfog 2000, a different perspective compilation in 2000. The band is Satyr's, I doubt I'm pronouncing that right, Satyr's record label Moonfog Production. And then after Ibon, there's Philip H. Anselmo and the Illegals, and last but not least is Scour. Now, he has a shit ton of guest appearances that they have listed. I won't go into all those, but man, he's a busy dude.
Okay. So this is Bond talking to me about. Yeah. This is Bond. We have other colors on the Illegals on this show. I should have presented that.
Oh, really?
And I remember, whenever it came out, we covered it. But, as I say that, I also remember me and Cooper not being tremendously impressed with it.
Okay.
We did another one of those, oh shit, a new Phil Anselmo project. Oh, it's not so good. So, all right. Yes. So there's an example of,
he's got 3 main bands and 7 side projects over the course of his career, plus, him wandering into other people's bands, probably drunk. And it's like, okay, how about we get some of these and focus on 1 or 2 things and do them well,
Yeah.
And it's funny because I could just imagine saying that to his face and him pulling out his cock and just hitting you over the head because of it. So it's smacking you upside the face. So it's like, all right, well, I don't really have a whole lot to add. I don't really have a whole lot to say if you're going to hit me with your dick. So let's just move on. All right. Speaking of circling the drain, this is I think the longest song on the album. Nope, the last one is. But this one just under. It's 5 minutes and 21 seconds long. This is. I don't know why that song needed to be 5 minutes long.
Oh, there must have been some reason. Uncle Phil had some reason.
Meh. He lacks in the editing department.
Well, yeah. Would you, if you were a producer, do you think it would be easy to work with this guy? Because I don't even know. Maybe he even produced this himself. I don't know. Let me look.
I think I just suggested that if you tried to give him constructive criticism, he'd sexually assault you with his penis.
I don't know if that would be considered.
So I'm going to go with
constructive
no on that one.
Well, I mean, you bring in a producer, you pay a guy. Usually, you pay a guy to come in and listen to your stuff and tweak it and edit it. But again, I don't know. He might have went completely hands on himself. Well, no, it says right here. Actually, it says even the production by Anselmo himself, along with regular collaborator Stephen Bergen. Yeah, so he ain't listening to anybody when it comes to this album. So he can just do whatever the hell he wants, apparently.
Yeah, you should Google Phil Anselmo and hard to work with.
you get a million results.
Just his computer just blows up. A little hand comes out, says, "I quit." All right. I don't think we need to say anything more about this. Let's just move this on.
Moving on.
Here we have a song called Asshole. Yes. Here we have a song called Wow, that was droney. Granted, I'm doing something else as I'm listening to these things, and I'm just like, blah 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 blah, blah blah blah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I hypnotized.
What's that?
I said I was being hypnotized.
Hypnotized. Okay, hey, look. Have you seen the new holiday cup from McDonald's just by chance? I'm going to take that as a no. I didn't hear you.
I'll say no. I have not. I have not. No, I have not seen the holiday cup from McDonald's.
Okay, well, I'm going to send this to you here real quick. And we're going to pop it up right in here. And this, my friend, there you go. Now, okay, it's just, this is the first thing I thought of when I heard this song, Asshole. Okay? Now, if you take a good look at that holiday cup from McDonald's, it looks like somebody spreading their cheeks.
Mittens. It's mittens, you pervert.
Not according to the internet, sir. Not according to the internet.
Oh, internet's full of perverts. Clearly two mittens. Warmest greetings, God. Goodness gracious. And what does this have to do with the
what the song we
China
just listened
exactly?
to? The song we just listened to was called Asshole.
Oh, asshole, butt cheeks. Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't get it because it's about fucking mittens.
No, sir.
Mittens.
Sir, let me.
God
if
damn
you
it.
had, I guarantee you, at some point, and when you're working, you're going to pass somebody I imagine, who will have this in their hands, and you're going to have to try and resist taking a pen and drawing a little chocolate starfish.
And some hot dog flavored water.
Maybe.
All right. All right, let's move this on. Here's Jesse's favorite song on this album. I know that because he sent it to me. Must Bite 2. What do you... You sent me a link here.
Angry Metal Guy. Just for your perusal, if you get a chance. But Angry Metal Guy always comes through with some fun stuff, such as, and tracks like Ruin You and Asshole find Anselmo at his most meathead, hoarsely shouting some of the dumbest shit you've heard in your life, such as, sample lyric, shit the bed, shit the bed, shit the bed, shit the bed.
Okay. So he gave this a 2.5 out of 5. Surprisingly low 6. Okay. I mean, it's not like we're sitting here raving about it. I look at that and I go, yeah, sure. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Of course, if Phil Anselmo were here, he'd tell us that we don't get it and that we're a bunch of assholes. And then he'd hit us.
He'd hit us with his dick again. Even through the internet. We'd somehow get slapped upside the face.
Yes. That's Phil and his magic penis. All right. Move this along. Why do you... Now, I need to ask you, sir.
Sure.
Why is Must Bite 2 your favorite song of all time?
First off, we've already mentioned repetition. And this... I don't know if it just really finally broke me when I finally sent you that message. Because, I was like, okay, I can handle you saying don't trust anyone because you're trying at the first song. You're trying to get a point across. Okay. But lyrically, and why you're going to name a title of song this, Must Bite 2, like there is a consensus amongst the ranks that, hey, dogs don't bite, or that just because it's a mutt, it doesn't bite. I don't get it. I'm sure if I delved into the lyrics, I would understand the explanation. But we don't have, it's not like he says that once or twice, or maybe, 3 or 4 times in a chorus. He says it over and fucking over and fucking over. And it's like, dude, okay. The definition of insanity, doing something over and over again and not, he's just not getting it. Whoa, stop. But it's like my kids. I know we mentioned we were going to talk a little bit about the kids. I could tell my son, don't do that, 3 or 4 days in a row. And then at the 5th day, do I draw the line? And am I supposed to draw the line at some point? Now, the problem is that I have to listen to my kids. I have to put up with their shit. Phil Anselmo, understand this. I don't have to put up with yours, sir. I can turn, luckily, after tonight, most likely, Superjoint will not be in my playlist. So I won't have to listen to him ever again. So, there. Much Fight 2 is my breaking point. Don't sneak him on. Don't sneak him on any playlist.
Oh, I'm not. But if you take Phil Anselmo off your playlist, he might hit you with his penis.
Good old. I'll be having nightmares of getting dick slapped by Phil Anselmo tonight.
You're welcome. All right. Let's get our last 2 tracks mercifully. This is track 10. This is Rigging. It's more of the same. Do you have anything you want to add here?
This is okay. I actually made notes for sociopathic, whatever it was, and put meh. On Rigging the Fight, I actually have 0, nothing written.
Okay, good, outstanding. All right. We have one more track left, so now is as good as any time to ask you your fatherly opinion on a matter.
Please.
So there's this kid in my daughter's kindergarten class, and I'm of 2 minds on the subject. Let me just tell you what she told us yesterday, and then I will give you 2 different opinions on the matter. And then I'd like your input.
Okay.
So you've seen my daughter on Facebook. She's not a rail-thin child. And I would have to question her parentage if she were, given my wife and I and our families are not exactly known for our model body qualities. We're some hefty people.
Okay.
But so she's not real thin, but my daughter, I wouldn't call her fat either.
No.
And that is exactly what happened. Some kid named Diego in her class, and I was told today that Diego is white, so let's just skip the Mexican jokes. I've already made them privately. Apparently he's not Mexican. He's some form of Caucasian. I think my exact words to my wife were, if that kid's named Diego and you're telling me he's white, he's got to be some Portuguese or something. Portuguese. Anywho. He one of them Portuguese, you know what I mean?
One of them Portuguese.
You ever heard of them Portuguese? So anyway, he apparently for some time now has been calling my daughter fat. And here's the thing. All year long, I've heard 2 kids that she's named in this class. Amari and Diego. And Amari got her in trouble, and she was moved away from him. And she's been near this kid Diego most of the first part of this school year. And the stories that I hear are basically this Diego character is a little bit of a troublemaker, and he doesn't always focus on his work. And the times that Lily has gotten in trouble for not getting her work done, because she never has a discipline problem. Because I'd kill her if she did. No. But she always, if purple is the highest behavioral color you can have in the classroom, she usually gets blue or purple every day. I'm always pushing her to be on purple. Because I'd like her to have some sort of neurosis when she's older. No, I have high standards. I have high standards for my children, even in kindergarten. So the thing that she sometimes will come home and say, "Oh, I didn't get as high as I could have today," is she doesn't get her work done, and sometimes she doesn't get her work done because this Diego asshole is distracting her. Well, it's gone from distracting her to now, I guess for a little while now, we only learned about this yesterday, that he was calling her fat. And, I talked to her about it. I told her, don't let people tear you down. I asked her, do you think you're fat? But you could see, the gestation of, a possible fucking eating disorder here. Because she's already, doing things like looking at herself and looking at her belly and, and not wanting to eat. And, she ate fine today, because, again, we were right on top of the issue and dealing with it. But in a less in a situation where you're not paying as close attention or you're not handling it as well, this could easily go sideways.
Yeah.
And so, I was talking to my wife about this tonight. I was like, isn't there supposed to be this whole thing against bullying? And, the schools are now that's the big thing. That's the big code is we don't want bullies in school. And she was like, well, technically this isn't bullying. I'm like, okay, well, how old does she have to be before we call it body shaming? Do I need to alert the Huffington Post?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I definitely would do in that situation. First off, Lily is in first grade, right? Or kindergarten?
Kindergarten.
Yeah. Okay. So why is this kid being a dick? Why is this? What's this other kid's problem?
All right. Well, that I was going to get to that.
Okay.
So I'm glad you asked. My wife and I think this is puppy love. That apparently the other side of what we're learning here is that despite the fact that this kid can be a bit of a douche nozzle, apparently, Lily is always around him, purposefully. And if she tries to go away from him, he'll attempt to be around her as well. And I guess my wife did say something to the teacher at some point, not necessarily about being called fat, but there's some other Diego stories that we've heard. It's really funny if Diego's dad was listening to this podcast. I just came to listen to the metal. Stop shaming my son publicly. I don't think Diego's dad listens to this. I think we're okay.
We're okay.
Anyway, right. What Melissa was told was that the teacher said of Diego, he sometimes doesn't know how to talk to girls.
He just insults them.
Yet another generation of. Well, it's always the girls that go for the bad boys, go for the guys that are the absolute worst for them,
6 years old,
and the guys
though.
that would be good for them. I know it's already starting. That's my point.
We can't. I don't know. There's been times in my life where, all of a sudden I'm freaking out about what was said to one of my children from school. And then I start to sit there and think, I've got 30 years, 30 plus, going on 40 years of life on this earth where I probably think that what's going through a kid's head or what I initially think is going through their head is probably not what's going through their head at all. Because, their minds aren't developed enough to where what they are doing, they realize what they are doing. I don't understand why a teacher, if the teacher's aware of it, why the teacher can't step in and say, okay, hey, we're not supposed to be calling people names. We're not supposed to be doing that. If that shit was happening to my kid, number one, I'd do exactly what you would do, which is, number one, tell her, okay, first off, don't let it get to you. I do my best to let my son, my daughter, whatever, understand that don't pay attention to what they say. And second off, if it bothers you bad enough, go tell the teacher and see what will happen then. Because that's what the teacher's going to say. Because as much as I'd like to tell Caleb to go ahead and hit the kid in the face that's giving you a hard time, that's just going to get him as much more trouble as the kid that's already starting the issue. So.
Yeah, I approach that. She goes to school out of district, not out of district, out of town. So we live in Eastern Hillsborough. She goes to school in Northern Hillsborough because it's closer to my wife and my mother-in-law. This is more convenient that way, And so we're under the school choice program, which means if we fuck up too hard or if we cause too many problems, they just won't allow her to go to that school anymore. You go to your own district school.
Yeah.
So, my idea of telling Lily the next time he calls you fat, tell him get fucked shit face is not going to go over very well.
Yeah.
Eat a dick, Diego. Not a good response from what I've been told. Would have been my first response. Hey, fat ass, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Man, I best thing I could tell you, dude, is tell the teacher and let the teacher handle it. I'm sure that's got to be exactly what your wife is saying. I would assume, unless she's telling the kid to fuck off or something like that, which I wouldn't blame her. Are you still there, Mark Radulich? I can't hear you, sir. Oh, I'll send you a message.
All right, yeah,
hey.
Google dropped me there for a second, so I'm in the direct connect again.
Okay.
So message me if the sound starts to go out. I'm cleaning this up a lot for this show because I actually said some rather harsh things to my wife about it. What I would say, what I think Lily should go tell this kid. Not appropriate for a family podcast. So I won't get into that, but none of it was appropriate. I did, however, say to Lily, I said, "Who the fuck is this Diego kid to tell you anything? Who gives a shit?"
Exactly.
You tell him, listen, asshole, I don't like it, and if you keep doing it, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. And don't say asshole or who the fuck is Diego.
Don't be a dick, Diego. Come on, man.
Yeah. Use nice language. Don't talk like daddy, who talks to prisoners on an ongoing basis. So.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think my frustration is that this is a microcosm of what I think is just a bigger problem in this world, and that is that if you're a whiner, or you're a bully, or you're a troublemaker, the world just sort of caters to you. And if you try to do the right thing, it's like, how much more of a bigger person are you supposed to be? Where does it end? It's, I talked a little bit about this with Sean last night on Long Road to Ruin. I just get this overwhelming sense sometimes of, good guys finish last. And it's like, okay, but I'm 40. I'm allowed to be cynical and depressed.
Oh, yeah.
Why is this happening to my 6-year-old,
Yeah.
So I don't know if you kind of struggled with that yourself with your own children in your own life, but there's a reason why I posted a picture of a tweet that said, my favorite part of Star Wars is when Darth Vader loses his shit and chokes a coworker.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Man, yeah, it's a struggle every day, dude. It is honestly a struggle every day, and I know that isn't news to you. And what's weird is like, you will sit here and you're worrying about this shit right now, and like in 2 years, like with my daughter, she was mortal enemies with this other girl for most of like 3rd or 4th grade, and just like it happens in life, man. Now they're friends. And I'm like, why the fuck? There was knockdown dragouts between my wife and my daughter because my wife knew about the shit that this other girl put her through a year or so before, but everything's fine now. And it's just, it's just the fucking way kids are, man. It's crazy because they'll, and it's important to remember they don't have as many years on this earth as you do, and not as just like you said. You're 40. You can be cynical. These kids have no fucking clue what they're doing. I don't think they start having a clue what they're doing until they're like in their teens, to be honest. So,
quite frankly, if they're anything like me, it won't be until they're 30. But I'll end with something I was starting to say before, and I got away from it. This may all just be, the old "I like you, punch you in the arm, run away" kind of a thing that that boys are known for, boys in antiquity. And it may just be that. It's just like, this kid likes my daughter, and he doesn't quite know how to express himself as eloquently and maturely as, say, someone of our highbrow intellectualism on this show.
Yeah. Did you see that? Did you see that holiday cup, by the way?
Yeah. Yes. Did I mention I was thinking about telling my daughter to tell this kid to get fucked? So, like I said, they don't have our emotional maturity, and and so that's the other side of it. But then there's another side of that, which is I don't want this kid to like my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go into the school and I'm going to say this publicly. I want to beat up a kindergartner. I'm not saying like I want to bully the kid. I just want to straight up beat his ass. And when his dad comes and like, what are you doing to my son? I want to beat his ass too. And the mom and the uncle and the grandpa. Just line the fucking family up and I'll knock them all out.
No fisticuffs have to happen. You can easily scare the shit out of a 6-year-old with one look and a few words. Trust me.
Yeah, but then I'm like, the psycho parent. That's it's just like, oh,
you gotta fight fire with fire. You gotta fight fire with fire.
I'm really holding back to what that would mean. What I would, when you say fight fire with fire against a bully named Diego, believe me, I have some thoughts. And they're not appropriate for mixed company.
Fire actually might be involved.
It might be. All right, we've successfully turned what was already borderline gutter straight into the gutter.
We didn't make this podcast any worse. Okay, that's just just be happy with that.
Fair enough. All right. We're going to go ahead and play our last song here. Thank you for bearing with us as we wasted 15 minutes on me trying to figure out what to do with a 6-year-old. By the way, the epilogue to this story is he invited her to his birthday party, which I find...
see?
Which I find funny. But see, I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if this is a thing in your school, because I just found this out. Because like, we want to throw a sweet and sassy, dress your kid up and do makeup and hair and all this other garbage kind of birthday party for my daughter. And when we were going to do it through the company, which is no longer known as Sweet and Sassy, it's now known as something else. But when we were doing it through one of their planned parties, you can only do it like 5-6 kids. I was like, great. I know exactly what kids. I said, perfect. It's like, yeah, public. My wife tells me this. She goes, in public school now, you have to invite everyone in the class. No, these kids.
Yeah, that's so shitty.
What do you mean I have to invite them? So you know what I'm talking about then?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Right.
And then you got to the whole, if you decide to throw a birthday, which I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but if you want to decide to throw a birthday party at the school or, give treats out, make sure you know what everybody's fucking allergy is. And, man, nothing but dad gripes these last 15 minutes.
So, yeah, we're not even throwing a party at the school. We were going to, go to Sweet and Sassy. But apparently, like, if you hand Brooke an invitation and don't give one to Madison, you might get thrown out of school, apparently.
That's shitty.
They're not.
Come on.
It's just not happening. So, protocol is you got to invite everybody. So, I don't know if Diego invited to the birthday party because he's like, I don't know, or I don't know if it's have to invite everybody because my mom.
Yeah. Protocol.
All I know is that I'm gonna have.
Man.
Is that bad? Is that no bueno?
No. Well, I want if I have no idea. We'll have to erase this part off the podcast. That's the only thing I could think of to make sure that you're not guilty.
I think I might re-gift something that I already own and don't use it anymore.
Oh, already done, sir. I've done that one already. That one's.
Have you?
That's happening.
Awesome. We don't use this anymore, do we? No, it's a VHS player. It's 2016. Hey, give it to a 6-year-old.
There you go. Oh, man.
VHS players? They were fucking. They had the button the size of a 2,000.
I guarantee you the parents of Diego would be like, you stay away from that Lily kid, okay? I don't know what's going on with the mom and the dad there giving you a VHS player. I think it might actually be a good idea. You want to you could actually take care of your problem by giving a gift, which is actually pretty interesting.
We have a lot of wine we don't drink. We all have a bottle of wine.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that won't get you in trouble.
What? It's not going to be open. That's pervy. See, where's like cozying up the kid in my robe, with 2 glasses of wine, trying to pour him one. I'm saying give it to him as a gift. Look, you know how many bottles of wine we've gotten as a gift? A bottle of wine is a very appropriate gift.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and go with that? I tell you what, if my son got a bottle of wine for his birthday from some strange person that was in his class, I guarantee you that they're going on some kind of a list.
All right, it's all silly in the middle hammer of it's all last minute.
That's right. We're having a good time here. Phil Anselmo can't slap us with his dick too much, make us cry. We're going to have a good time tonight.
I'm pretty sure if he's heard the podcast up to this point, he's tuned out. So for those of you that are left, yeah, exactly. Just hit himself with his own dick, went to sleep.
I gotta hit somebody tonight.
All right. Speaking of hitting yourself with your own dick, this is to knock. right. In the interest of time, we're done.
Well, okay. First off, the title of that song is quite appropriate to end the album on, considering, first off, if Phil Anselmo came and knocked on my door, guess what? I ain't answering.
There would be no answer to the knock.
That's correct, sir. Uncle Phil is outside. I'd have my whole family huddled in the bedroom, just kind of peeking through the curtain, making sure he goes away, like a.
Maybe you should give him a bottle of wine.
That'd probably make him stay, to be honest. I don't want to be doing that.
All right. Look, this album's a C. I mean, it's fine. It probably is better live, like I said earlier. I think it's adequate for background noise, but in terms of song structure and lyrical structure and quality, it's just below average.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a strong C. And that I think is being a little generous. It wasn't unlistenable. What do we have new sound, by the way? Did you fix it?
Well, let's go ahead and for my review, why don't you go ahead and find it right there on the old soundbite, and I'll just let the soundbite play it.
All right, here this is Jesse's thoughts on the album. The gears of application, Superjoint.
Absolute shite, crap, feces.
Well done.
Actually, can make out what he's saying now. That's good. Oh man,
let me ask you another question. Would you want to hear more Superjoint in the future?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Clearly, my work is done tonight. I don't even have to review the album. We got sound bites to do it.
When you hear Superjoint, what kind of feeling do you think does place you?
The animal, trap, till the cages full. The cage.
What the hell?
That would be the opening theme to.
Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would you say is the morality of this album, Jesse? Would you say it's good or evil?
We got our intros doing reviews now.
I don't care if anybody else thinks that's funny. I'm laughing. What's he doing?
What the hell? About? Why all of a sudden it's become everyone loves a bad guy? That shit's been on hiatus forever. Yeah, okay. Let me go ahead and give you my real thoughts here. I mean, I say it's unlistenable, and that's pretty harsh because there are a few, and I mean few, songs off of this album that I tolerated enough to where I was like, okay, I could tell you I did bang my head a couple times, but the way they mix this shit, I can't tell if it's just noise or if there's no melody here. I mean, it's all over the place. There's a couple spots where I thought a song was going to happen. Please.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think this album collectively is better or worse than this?
Jingle bells ring, jingle bells ring. I said it's leak what the juice. Shop take a lick.
I will vote Liggity Slop the Cooch over this any day.
I walk around saying that now, which is not what the man is saying. But I will absolutely walking around my job, like talking to inmates and just singing to myself, Liggity Slop the Cooch.
Well, The women love it. I don't know, man. But as for Superjoint, yes, I would probably listen to Italian Jingle Bells before. I'd probably listen to it all 12. I'd listen to it 12 times before I listen to 12 tracks of this. So, man, I'm sorry. This is what they say, 12 or 13 years in the making, and you were all excited. I'm really sorry this didn't. To me, it didn't turn out that well. It definitely didn't sound like it turned out. It didn't put a smile on your face as well.
It's just forgettable. I spent most of after giving it a couple of listens, I was like, all right, I'm done with this. And I was adding some music to my workout playlist, which I should really redub instead of Workout 2016, Mark's Super Duper Douchey Workout Mix.
Bro. Probably a bro in there.
Mark's totally bro-rific. Fucking workout mix.
Lose weight, bro. Lose weight, bro.
It's going to be my Do You Even Lift, Bro? Mix. So, I mean, and because I've only got so much space on my phone, it was like, I couldn't download anything. And I was like, let's take this album off. This sucks. And I added albums at the time, I was still trying to figure out, once we decided that we weren't going to play songs we'd already heard this year, and try to add, some songs we couldn't get to, albums we never got to review, I might not have even listened to. I was more concerned with that than I was listening to this album, and I just took it off my playlist. And just like you, I can't imagine I'm ever going to come back to this. There's nothing on here there's no cover, there's no good workout song, there's just nothing on here that's memorable or worth hanging on to. And so it just goes back into the ether of the Spotify database, and we're on to the next thing.
It'll always have a spot on the Metal Hammer of Doom 2016 playlist. Unfortunately.
Fair enough.
So you can always go back and say, what did we listen to in 2016? And you can listen to everything, and then right at the end of the playlist, you get really depressed.
All right. So it followed Oakley Dokley, so it'll be very bipolar.
That's right.
Yeah. Flander Doodles, much like too.
I was singing. What was I singing today? It was Godspeed Little Doodle. I was fucking singing that. I haven't listened to the album since we covered it last week, and Godspeed Little Doodle snuck up in my head.
Oh, Flander Doodles. All right. So, fuck this album and this whole podcast. Next week, that's what I'm excited about. I have been harassing Jesse and Cooper about this fucking show that we're doing next Wednesday, 9:30, Metal Hammer of Doom, We Wish You a Metal Christmas. And I won't tell you what's on the playlist, but originally it was like, you pick a song, I pick a song, and I was just like, no, fuck this. I can't take it anymore. I have to start figuring out what we're going to listen to. So,
it's so funny because it's like your anal retentive takes over. I gotta know what is going to happen. It's got to happen. I got to know what's going to be on it.
I drive my wife crazy with this shit. I mean, she loves me, and we are best friends. But when I tell people that I have my movie list of what I'm going to see next year in review planned out, people are like, "What kind of crazy person are you?" And like, and that I that old playlist. Which, by the way, I kept Lily at a school briefly today to go take her to the dentist and Jonas to the dentist, and so it was like we went to the dentist to school, so she was in the car, wasn't in the dentist chair for a pretty lengthy period of time, and the whole time we were listening to the Metal Christmas list. Christmas playlist.
Nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
I'm not interested in their fool opinions. They will listen to my music until it becomes unbearable for them.
Which, by the way, we might as well go ahead and call out the fact that what was it? It wasn't Christmas at Ground Zero. It was Santa. Well, the night Santa went crazy. Unbelievable. Can't play that anymore. Ridiculous.
All right. So now that you're bringing up something completely unrelated, let me explain that real quick.
All right.
So let me start off with the fact that I was asked by my wife to create a Christmas, because I deleted it from last year. I created a whole Christmas playlist for last year, for opening presents and decorating the tree and just kind of riding around listening to Christmas, because it's all Christmas music all the time until it's over in the family when we're riding together. And I love Christmas music, I really do. But I'm into a lot of the silly Christmas songs. Dominic, the Italian Christmas Donkey, which isn't so much silly as it is, just the greatest thing ever. Why is your daughter listening to Spotify right now? Shouldn't she? It's school
Don't
night.
get me started, Mark. Do not get me started. Finish your story, because I was sitting here and I saw it pop up, and I'm like, what is going on here? Let me just go ahead and bitch real quick about the fact that I got an email from Spotify saying, hey, check out the most songs you listened to for 2016. And the first fucking song on that list was Drake. Fuck me. Okay,
two things. Number one, that's your own damn fault. It's $15 for the family account.
Oh, I mentioned it tonight. Don't you worry. I mentioned it.
I was going to say, spend the extra $7 or $5, you cheap bastard. Now,
stop your bitches.
But at a school night, what are you doing up this late? Listening to Panic at the Disco.
Mark Radulich. I'm resignated to the basement doing podcasts. She's obviously got me in a bad spot. My wife is asleep. She knows I'm not going to come up there. I could send her a message like, hey, Mark Radulich says go to sleep. I'll do that right now.
Yeah, tell her. Yeah, you tell her. Tell her Daddy Radulich says get the fuck to bed.
Get the fuck to bed.
Get the fuck to bed. Good. Please use the word fuck in there for emphasis. Anyway, so my wife asked me to make a Christmas playlist, and I woke up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, on Sunday. So I just laid in bed, fucking on Spotify, creating this, Christmas classics like Dominic, the Italian Christmas Donkey, and I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas, and I'm Getting Nuttin' for Christmas, and of course the classic from Mel Blanc, The Hat I Got for Christmas Is Too Big.
Too big.
We got Italian Jingle
one.
Bells, and then of course we got to flip to the other side. We got some Christmas in Hollis from my Run DMC, Queen, Thank God It's Christmas, Weezer, We Wish You a Merry Christmas, No Doubt, Oi to the World. So just running the gamut of Christmas classics here. It's 2.5 hours, 51 songs, 53 originally, and of course it had 2 Weird Al songs on there, Christmas at Ground Zero and The Night Santa Went Crazy. And so Sunday, we got up and we got dressed. We immediately ran out of the house to the tree farm where we had tagged our tree on Black Friday. And we were going to get it. We were going to bring it home, and we were going to decorate the tree like we do every year. And play our Christmas playlist. And I figured, why not start off with some holiday cheer, Christmas at Ground Zero. It's fun for the whole family, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely,
it's Christmas at Ground Zero. The bombs have been dropped, or whatever, however the fuck it goes. And after about a line or two of this, my wife looks at me and has the "you just farted in my face" look, and says to me, she says, "This is the most depressing song I've ever heard."
Oh, come on.
And I'm like, you must not be from Earth, because depressing doesn't mean hilarious. Hilarious means hilarious. This song's hilarious.
This song's hilarious, damn it.
And no, this is about a Christmas during a nuclear war. This is I don't want the kids listening to death metal when I'm around. Are you kidding me?
Wow, draws the line. Damn.
She's like, They listened to King Diamond's "No Presents for Christmas," and my daughter actually said, "Yeah, it's fine, it's good." But Weird Al was too much. It was too depressing. So I was like, "All right."
Well, at least, like like the story I told you, at least Lily didn't have the tape, and your wife bust in and take the tape and throw it out the window or some shit, because that happened to me. So if she could have, she would have.
Yeah, kind of hard to grab things out of Spotify at this point.
Just got to delete them off the playlist. Unfortunately, you're the dad, and you got to listen to the mom.
Right. So I went to the next song, and we were good for a while. And then what kills me about this is on previous playlists, I've had like Homo Christmas by the Queers, and that was okay.
Wow.
But Weird Al, not so much. Have you ever heard that, Homo Christmas? You should add it to your
No, I'm looking
playlist.
at right now. I'm actually on Spotify looking for if it's a public playlist. You apparently don't have it public, which is fine. But
I can make it public. Hang on.
Do that because I would. If you've got, I'm all about listening to some silly Christmas songs. Hee haw, hee haw.
All right. How do you make this public?
I see Family Christmas. That isn't it, is it?
Yeah, Family Christmas.
It is? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, then, let me go ahead. I'll pop in there. Go ahead and continue. Yeah. The Dominic the Donkey is clearly number one.
Yup. Anywho. All right, so you found it, right?
Yep, I see it.
All right, swell. All right, so anyway. So, by the way, Homo Christmas not on this year's playlist. I just didn't remember to do it. I didn't remember to put it on there. But anyway. So the day goes on, and we're getting the trimming in the garage, and we're doing our thing, where everyone is just joyous and gay, okay? Because it's Christmas time.
That's right.
And a couple of songs later, it's Weird Al again, and it's The Night Santa Went Crazy, which is also hilarious.
Yeah.
And she's like, and she calls me over to the computer. She's like, "You got to turn this off. What's the problem?" And she really, Bill Cosby touched me. Like, she went into this whole Weird Al is banned from this list. So I'm gonna listen to any, that if I'm gonna listen to any fucking Weird Al, I have to do so privately because this is weird for children. So once again.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Once again, these kids still around town. I was that I have and she got the serious audio in the man. I'll put on liquid metal.
Yeah.
Healthy dosages of fucking Testament and Overkill, Metallica, Hatebreed, the whole 9 yards. And that's okay. But The Night Santa Went Crazy, inappropriate. She made me take it off.
Wow. I mean, to be fair, I understand the subject matter is quite violent, and I assume it's probably the most violent Christmas song on your list. Would you agree?
Let me see. No, the most violent on my list involves Cold Outside.
What?
Baby,
we're talking. Oh, are you talking? Shoot, what was the name of it?
Baby, It's Cold Outside.
Oh, Baby, It's Cold Outside. Yep, that's right. Yes, all about rape.
Let's see, Bob has a song called LE.
Oh yes, I see that. Grandma got run over by a reindeer right above it by Elmo and Patsy. Yeah.
Very violent.
Yep, that is quite. She shouldn't have any issue with this. Then you need to tell her. You need to explain. Look, here's the evidence. Look at the rest of these fun Yuletide carols that we sing every day, and you have a problem with Santa killing Rudolph and eating him. I don't understand.
Anywho, the point of all of this here is that moving on to next week's show.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I put together a list of about 20 songs. I don't want to give it away now, but I had Jesse and Robert look this over. So far, they're okay. I guess you guys are okay with it. You haven't told me to change it at all, so we just had to figure out which version of "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" we were going to play.
Yeah, that was.
I had like 5 of them on there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to upload 20 different Christmas songs in the order that I currently have them on the playlist. Hint, hint. and we'll play these songs and we'll talk Christmas and we'll have some fun, and and we'll go out in the Yuletide merry way, and then the week after that, New Year's week, the 28th of the 28th of December is our year-end spectacular, which the big change here was Jesse had suggested we were going to just play like 3 songs from earlier this year, sort of revisit them, and then one we didn't get to. And there were just too many songs that I wanted to play that we didn't get to. So we opened it up to just pick 4 songs that you want to play, as long as they came out in 2016. I have been wrestling with this all day.
Mark Radulich and his playlist, everybody.
Yeah, I have reminders on the calendar when I'm going to take kids to certain movies, like Despicable Me or Cars. Okay, so fucking neurotic and scheduled I am. But right now I've narrowed the list down. You ready? My 4 songs for the year back. Marine Heads, is there anybody out there? Straight from the Past, Bitches, Burnout, and OTEP Zero. Trying to find the right combination of douchebag and heavy, and I think I got it. So,
all right.
So that's the next 2 weeks. Then we're taking a week off, and then we'll pick back up again. I rearranged the calendar somewhat, so the new calendar looks like this. Where 2017 starts off with our Clutch show. We're going to do it deep cuts, covers, and B-sides.
Oh, it's going to be a fun
and
one.
we gave Robert Cooper like a whole list of Clutch songs to pick from, and we're going to let him kind of create the playlist from what we decided should be on there. Then we're going to review Sepultura, Machine Messiah, and here's where I switch things up. On the 25th of January, we're going to review Firewind Immortals. Big fan of Firewind over here, so that'll be fun. And then February 1st, Creator, Gods of Violence.
I think I heard my first Creator song there over this week, actually. Good. It was good, too. I'm pretty sure it was one off the new album, so I look forward to that.
On the 8th is when we're going to do my Friends Band, which came out actually this year, 2016, but we're going to review it in February because there's nothing coming out on February 3rd that's worth reviewing. The band's called If He Dies, and the album's called Beneath the Waves, which is available on Spotify if you all want to give it a... On the 5th, and the 22nd, Marilyn Manson, Satan. First, at Panther, Lower the Bar.
Oh boy,
that's fun. I love me some Steel Panther. Which, by the way, you should probably before you go to bed. Kira's up. Play for her.
I turned the Spotify off. By the way, I went in there and I hit a button so she's not listening to Spotify anymore. I think she just let it go on her iPad. That's the only thing I can guess, because I tried to send her a message. She ain't getting back with me.
Yeah, it's going, by the way. A few minutes ago, she was in something called Fat WAP. Fetty WAP.
No.
And now it's 21 Pilot.
No. This must be rectified. Continue.
Play a song by Steel Panther for her.
No, I don't want to play any song by Steel Panther for not for any member of my family.
It's not dirty per se.
Okay.
It's a lot of innuendo.
Yeah.
It's a lot of playing with. It's a lot of playing with
phrases.
How do I put this? Yeah, it's a lot of playing with phrases, but it's not directly dirty.
Sir. Okay, if I told you that, number one, if Now, let's just put it this way. You know what the source is, okay? There's no getting away from that source. They could sit there and sing me the loveliest of lovely ballads ever. And if it's Steel Panther singing it, I would be absolutely worried about something that I'm missing in the lyrics of that song.
I'm just going to read you a little bit of this.
Oh, boy.
And you'll see that really the stocking song should be a family holiday classic, okay? So the stocking song is, so you say you like candy canes. All the ladies do. Candy canes were meant for sucking. So don't you think about thinking about candy canes? There's nothing pretty about that.
Sure,
and
sure, yeah.
You don't, it's not a chewing a candy cane. I think.
So it's me. I'm the one that's messed up, huh? I'm the one that's messed up because I'm the one thinking this stuff. Well played.
The one pointing that mittens are buns.
That holiday cup cracks me up.
Man, you. All right, a little more here. A little more to just drive home the point. How about a little eggnog? I have a homemade recipe. You're going to get love drunk on my eggnog, even though it's alcohol free. See? It's all wholesome stuff here.
Okay, that I can almost say that that's somewhat wholesome. Almost.
Would you like to hear how the chorus goes, and then we can stop this bit? Okay.
Please do.
All right. I'm gonna stuff your stocking this year. Gonna fill it up nice and tight. Gonna feel so good when I slide my gifts into it tonight. I'm gonna stuff your stocking this year. Gonna fill it up with all I got. Knickknacks and candy is gonna hit you in your stocking G-spot.
Oh, well, come on.
What?
Stocking G-spot.
Don't you hang stockings by the tree with care? Don't you fill them with, little toys and, cards and things for the children?
Sure,
That's all he's talking about. He's talking about
I don't
filling
go
up
around saying
stocking.
that my stocking has a G-spot. Okay? I don't know what goes on there, and then that might raise questions. Hey, Daddy, what's a G-spot? Well, why don't you ask fucking Mark Radulich?
Ask me. Talk to Steel Panther. They wrote the song.
Oh, shit.
All right. I think we've devolved into enough silliness for now.
See what Philip Anselmo and his dick smacking does to somebody.
One last plug. Next Tuesday, Damn You Hollywood returns with our second to last review of the year, Rogue One. Apparently, it's certified fresh. It's, mostly good reviews. There's been some 30-odd negative reviews, so we'll have fun ripping those douchebags apart. And then at the end, and then the very end, it'll be me, myself, Sean, and Robert Winfrey reviewing Assassin's Creed, and then we'll have our Damn You Hollywood year-end special ourselves. So that's all my plugs. You do your plugs, and we'll get out of here.
All right, man. So once again, pleasure to be on the Metal Hammer of Doom. What a fun way to end our, just like you said, end our final review proper. But I look forward to the next couple shows here before the year ends. Now, as for myself, I do a comic book podcast here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. It's called Source Material. You can go back in the archives. We're getting close to 100 episodes. I don't know what I'm going to do for my 100th episode spectacular, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're last Flintstones. It may very well be because we're at like 94, 95. But anyway, this past Monday, I did a podcast, dropped it on the network here with good buddy, Stephen Marsh, where we talked Alien versus Predator 3 World War. And that was a fun book. It was a 6-issue series. Had a lot of fun talking about it. Upcoming here next week will be me, Mark Radulich, Ronnie Adams, and the Invisible One himself, Justin Thomas, discussing we're going back to 1974, and we're going to be discussing the original script adapted into comic book form, it was adapted into comic book form. I think we said 2013, called The Star Wars. So it's George Lucas's 1974 original script for Star Wars. And it was a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, the discussion, we've already got it in the can. I'm breaking it up. I think I'm going to do 3 episodes. May do it all in 1 week if we got the space. But the first episode is just pretty much, I think it's going to be titled Ronnie versus Mark. And The Star Wars is going to come second, because that's where we got our most fun discussion there, when the machete order came up, and then all of a sudden it just went nerdtastic. Nerds flew everywhere. Anyway, check that out. That'll be upcoming. We're going to be celebrating the release of Rogue One, so it'll be a lot of fun. Make sure to give that Radulich and Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like. Stay up on top of all the great podcasts that we have to offer. I am trying to keep it daily, but I'm doing a review of all the albums, just a personal review of all the albums that have dropped on the Metal Hammer of Doom this year. Just kind of giving it some blurbs and my favorite songs off of each album if I can. And check that out if you get a chance. I think that's it. You can check out the Screaming Boy podcast on it's also at some point going to be coming back on here. We just did an episode on YouTube where we discussed the NES Classic, which is just ridiculously popular. And we also discussed Battlefield 1. So if you're into video games, I talked the first half and then I didn't have shit to say about Battlefield 1. So you can hear me on half that podcast. That should be coming up here, I would think, this coming Saturday on this network. And it's already on YouTube under the Screaming Boy podcast. That is it, Mark Radulich. I'm ready to rock and roll and get out of here.
All right, man. It's been a pleasure. Always fun talking to you on this. Hopefully we'll have Cooper back for the next 2 shows. I hope he's feeling okay. To everybody, I hope you had a good time with this. And if you didn't, well, Lou Monte has a little message for you. And I personally have to say, be well, be safe, and behave.
Jingle bells ring, jingle bells ring. A dirichli quattro giuc, sciaptegli campanelle. Moga scoppani, veniva gibana passadelle. Quando sono le campanelle, devo dare la casa bella. Moga spondalone, ne va gibana balladelle. Campanella, campanella, sono bella bella. Moga festa nata volta, da cazzo una festa bella. Campanella, campanella, sono bella bella. Mo moglier m'attacchi giù, ce ne va gibana tarantella. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
There's no way to prepare for the impact an accident makes on your life. That's why we've spent 40 years getting ready for that moment when you need compassion and immediate action. The right doctors, investigators, our team of experienced attorneys, and your free consultation is already in place. So if you've been hurt, remember, the Farah Safety Net is right here to catch you. All you have to do is call Farah and Farah. It's what we built. Tampa.